It is this feeling of vague but persistent unease, a sense that something is off, that life isn't quite matching your expectations, or that the decisions you've made so far are somehow insufficient. It comes with frustration, anxiety, and confusion about your career, relationships, or purpose. It also manifests as the pressure to have it all figured out and yet with no clear direction. If this resonates, you may be experiencing what psychologists and life coaches call a quarter life crisis. So, when does this typically happen age wise? A quarter life crisis typically occurs in your 20s to early 30s, a time when early adulthood responsibilities collide with self expectations. Unlike the midlife crisis often depicted in popular culture, this stage is about navigating the transition from adulthood to full independence. It happens when you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want, and how to align your personal values with the reality of your current adult life. So, what are the signs that you're going through a quarter life crisis for sure? The feelings associated with a quarter life crisis include uncertainty, fear of failure, impatience, self doubt, and sometimes a sense of being behind your peers. It can also manifest as dissatisfaction with your job, confusion about your relationships, or a restless search for meaning. What makes it particularly disorienting is that it often comes without a clear trigger. You simply feel stuck or lost, and it's hard to articulate why. So, why does quarter life crisis happen? Early adulthood is a period of identity formation and exploration. So, societal expectations, social comparison, and internalized definitions of success often amplify the pressure you feel. You may be navigating financial independence, career decisions, personal relationships, and the broader question of your life purpose all at once. Add to this the pervasive presence of social media, which highlights the perceived success of your peers. And with this, it is easy to feel inadequate or behind. In summary, quarter life crisis is a natural developmental phase. Now to the best part. How do you undo quarter life crisis? A quarter life crisis isn't something you think your way out of. It is something you move through intentionally. The steps are meant to steady you, narrow the confusion, return a sense of control, and help you regain forward movement. Each step does a specific job, but you don't have to follow them linearly. Just pick what applies best to you in the moment and apply others as you go. So, what are these steps? One thing you can do is to let the old picture of your life collapse. A quiet grief sits underneath a quarter life crisis. It is the grief of realizing that the version of your life you were working toward, the timeline, the identity, the by now I should be, isn't holding up anymore. This is where many people get stuck because they keep trying to salvage the old picture instead of letting it fall. You might still be chasing goals that don't excite you, staying in rooms you've outgrown, or forcing yourself to want things that you no longer want in reality, just so you don't have to admit things have changed. Letting the picture collapse feels like failure, but it is not. It is honesty. You can't build what is next while clinging to what no longer fits. Another thing you can do is to audit your life ruthlessly. This is one of the most important ones. Look closely at your current commitments and routines. A significant part of a quarter life crisis comes from misalignment between your internal values and your external life. When most of what surrounds you exists because of expectations rather than intention, your dissatisfaction is justified. This is not a call to quit your job overnight or end a relationship simply because you feel uneasy. The problem is not the job or the partner. The issue is your drive. When you operate based on timelines and external expectations instead of conscious intent, even good things start to feel empty. And if you don't currently have a job or a relationship, the audit still begins in the same place. Examine why you want those things. If the desire is rooted merely in timelines, comparison, or societal expectations, pause and refine your reason. Again, your life should reflect your values and principles, not run on inherited expectations and borrowed timelines. If no one were watching, what would you keep? What would you release? Another important thing you need to do is to stabilize your inner state. This step is meant to reduce emotional noise so that you can think clearly instead of reacting. When you're in a quarter life crisis, your nervous system is usually overloaded with anxiety, urgency, comparison, and self-criticism all talking at once. There is no decision you can make from these states that will be clean. So before you start looking for insight, you stabilize yourself. This looks like regulating your sleep, reducing inputs that spike comparison in form of social media and constant advice from peers and even older ones, and then creating a daily pocket of quiet where you're not performing or consuming. What you're doing is creating a mental ground that doesn't shift under your feet. Without this, it will be difficult to articulate your next step. Something else you can do is to identify the exact misalignment. What this step is meant to do for you is to pinpoint what is wrong. Everything feels off is not actionable, so you narrow it. The misalignment is usually in one or two areas and not your entire life. You locate it by asking yourself questions. Vague distress breeds unnecessary tension, and once you know where the friction is, you stop attacking yourself globally and focus where change is actually needed. And the last thing you need to do on this is to break your life goals down into small actionable routines. That life you want, what are the steps you need to take in order to get it? Nothing beautiful in life comes linearly, so this might feel like a difficult chore, but everything that has been achieved in life comes with a pattern. Find what has been working for people ahead of you in that part and commit to it through daily small actions. This gives your life a sense of meaning and direction, and with this, you're no longer drifting. A sense of purpose makes your life fuller and more grounded in the present. Your ambition is no longer something you're waiting to happen, it is something you're moving towards. And that is a great step forward and out of this mental mess. In conclusion, if you're experiencing a quarter-life crisis, it means you're in a period of questioning and exploration, which is a natural stage in the journey of defining who you are and what matters to you. And I wish you success in life as you move with this advice. And until next time, bye.